everyone, and this is Daddy.
Today we're in Centralia, Pennsylvania. We are risking the possibility of arrest, our health, and maybe even our very lives just to keep you informed. Now, in case you're thinking that I'm kidding about risking our lives, take a look at this sign.
Why did you bring me here?
Well, because we need to tell the story of Centralia, Pennsylvania.
We look ridiculous!
Well, we don't look ridiculous, we're just trying to be safe. Look, just help me out with the story a minute and we'll work on that, okay? Look, Centralia was once a bustling coal mining town. It was established in 1866 and it mined coal for nearly 100 years.
It was a modest town of about 3,000 people, but it had 7 churches, 5 hotels, 27 saloons, 2 theaters, a bank, a post office, and 14 general and grocery stores.
And they also had a garbage dump located in a pit of an abandoned strip mine. Then, on May 27th, 1962, the Volunteer Fire Company was ordered to clean up the town landfill by setting it on fire. And well, that's what they did back then. Only this time, an opening in the pit allowed the fire to enter the vast abandoned coal mines beneath the town.
And so the coal beneath the town burned and burned and burned.
And every attempt to put the fire out was unsuccessful, and it continues to burn to this day. Then, about 30 years ago, they decided the town wasn't safe, and they tried to force everyone to leave.
Even though most of the town was leveled, a few people live here legally to this day. But if this place is so dangerous, why are we here?
Well, because it's not that dangerous, really.
The sign says it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's just part of the big government conspiracy. And besides, I've taken precautions. I bought us these terrific hazmat suits.
These aren't hazmat suits, they're coveralls
well,
and dust
you're
masks.
complaining too much. The hazmat suits just didn't arrive in time.
Meaning you're too cheap to buy them?
Yeah, well, something like that. Look, I'm not a science guy, and I don't know how dangerous this is, but I know someone who can help us out. Through the magic of YouTube, we can contact our friend Miles Power from Power M 1985. Hey, Miles, do you mind if we ask you a few questions?
We're about to enter a toxic waste area in Centralia, Pennsylvania, and Daddy thinks these coveralls and dust masks will protect us. What do you think?
Hey guys, what do I think about it? Well, it's in the name really. They're dust masks and not respirators. They're going to prevent you from breathing in dust, but even then they don't do a fantastic job at it. And as for the overalls, they'll stop you from getting dirty.
Now, I read that in 1981, a boy my age was playing in his backyard here when a 4-foot wide sinkhole opened beneath him. It was 150 feet deep, and giant plumes of poisonous steam came belching out of it.
Look, you're blowing this way out of proportion. His cousin saved him at the last second, and everyone was fine.
Any chance that I'm going to get swallowed up by some giant poisonous steam belching sinkhole?
Yes, there is. The fire actually spread from the abandoned strip mine to beneath the town and beneath Route 61. Now, this has led the ground underneath the town and the road to be really prone to collapse and subsidence because the fires have been found as low down as 70 meters. Now, authorities are actually quite worried about people falling in holes, even though the town is essentially abandoned. This is because it's become quite a tourist hotspot, especially among kind of geeks like me, because it was actually the town that the movie and video game Silent Hill was based on even. Now, it is still really unlikely that the ground is just going to swallow people up, but it's still quite probable in a town like that.
So what's in those gases anyway, and how painful will my death be?
Oh, there have been all kinds of crazy gases found throughout the town. They include things like methane. Now, methane isn't a toxic gas, but it is a greenhouse gas. In fact, it's 72 times better at being a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. Benzene. Benzene is extremely toxic and also carcinogenic. Toluene. Toluene is not as toxic as benzene, but prolonged exposure has been shown to cause neurological damage. And carbon monoxide, which was found at 1,000 parts per million. Now, carbon monoxide binds to hemoglobin in your blood. Hemoglobin is the iron-containing protein that's responsible for transferring oxygen around your body. Now, when it binds to it, it forms a stable complex, carboxyhemoglobin. I had to think about that there for a second. Now, when that happens, unfortunately, it's no longer capable of transferring oxygen around your body. And scientists have found that as concentrations as high as 650 parts per million is enough to actually alter half your hemoglobin in your body into this carboxyhemoglobin, preventing it from transferring oxygen around you. And as a result, people have had seizures and people have actually died from carbon monoxide poisoning. As for how painful it is, this is the scary thing. If you were walking around in, say, 1,000 parts per million carbon monoxide, at first you'd feel sick, headache, nausea, tiredness, nothing really horrific as the damage has been done to you. It's only later on that you start to have seizures and die. So to me, that's actually quite scary.
That reminds me. You know how the old miners used to carry canaries into the mines because the canary was smaller, it would die from the poisonous gas first as a warning. So given that Alan is like half my size, is it reasonable to assume that I'm going to have a little warning?
What? You can't use your child as a canary? What's wrong with you? And yes, carbon monoxide poisoning will affect a smaller person before it affects a bigger person, unless the bigger person has any medical problems or, say, like a smoker.
Look, some people have been living here for 50 years with no ill effects. Isn't this really an attempt by the government to take over the land and the many millions of dollars in coal that lies underneath?
It's important to remember that just because someone is walking and talking doesn't mean that they haven't been damaged by the toxic gases. But really what this all boils down to is responsibility. The government was responsible for the fire, and they know it, which is why they spent a whopping $42 million helping people move out of the town. Now that's something conspiracy theorists don't often talk about. They also don't talk about how the town was actually in decline well before the fire. In fact, I think half the population moved out before the 50s. So yeah, in conclusion, this town isn't a very safe place to live. You know, it's unlikely that anything nasty, properly nasty, is going to happen to you, but the government don't want to be responsible for it if it does. And that's really it.
Thanks, Miles. We appreciate the help. Look, I think what we can do is stay to the high ground and just look at everything from a distance. The truth is that this really isn't a tourist destination and not a place to bring your kids, but we're here more as journalists than tourists.
So what's the message here? Are we supposed to learn something from this?
Absolutely, we're supposed to learn something from this. We can learn a lot. First of all, we've shown once again how fallible humans can be. One small mistake can lead to a disastrous result. The economic loss is certainly great, and many people lost their heritage and their way of life. But equally as bad is the environmental damage. Many tons of coal are being wasted, and it's polluting the environment at the same time. Okay, wait, hold it. I hate to interrupt myself, but it needs to be done. I have to tell you that I lied when I said this. Look, I think what we can do is stay to the high ground and just look at everything from a distance. I didn't do that. I went right into where the fire was and felt the hot ground, and it was really remarkable. And then I bent in close and recorded this clip of the gases rising out of the hole. And it was really cool to see, but well, remember when Miles said...
And yes, carbon monoxide poisoning will affect a smaller person before it affects a bigger person, unless the bigger person has any medical problems or, say, like a smoker.
Well, my lungs were extremely irritated for weeks, and after several trips to the doctor, they discovered a very large tumor on my lungs. Now, I can't imagine that Centralia caused the tumor. It had to have been there before. It just irritated it. In fact, if it wasn't for that irritation, the tumor probably wouldn't have been discovered until it was too late. Now, the fact is that it was discovered, and that while it's been a little rough at times on me, I'm on chemotherapy and I will be just fine, so don't worry about me. Nonetheless, I think it is important to say that despite our lighthearted attitude, Centralia is no joke. It's a deceptively dangerous place and a genuine economic and environmental tragedy. Now, back to me.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Like us, pin us, tweet us, and you can click on this link to visit our good friend Miles Power. He was very generous to help us out today.
Yes, thank you very much, Miles. We appreciate it.
Can I take these stupid coveralls off now?
Stupid coveralls? I spend good money to protect you, to save your life.
You wanted to use me like a canary?
Well, no, but I didn't want you to die necessarily. It was just if you do.